Hi. One of the things you'll know about me is that I am not a very religious guy, nor am I spiritual. Things like that I don't really understand like whatsoever. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, I've had a lot of conversations with religious people and the like as they, tell me why I should believe in God. I tell them why believing in that doesn't make sense to me, and yeah, we have our back and forth. And I've had some engaging discussions, I guess, like good for the brain or like whatever. But there's one thing in particular that I just think is like honestly so stupid. Like it's one of their weakest points that they fall on, like literally. And I'm not trying to be rude. Well, maybe I am because it's honestly just like super dumb to me. But I mean, who am I kidding? I have a video saying that religion is a fairy tale, all that kind of stuff. So, you know what? I guess maybe I am being rude. If you can't handle it, then like whatever, click away. I don't care. But okay. A lot of religious people, people that believe in God, will argue that there must be a creator because everything is so intelligently designed and beautiful. And notice how they'll only say that for things that are, obviously positive. Like if they say something like, "Oh my gosh, the eyes are put perfectly, the nose is centered, blah blah blah," and things like that. Why don't you hear them say that for people with like disabilities and shit? Because if we're being honest here, that's not a good design. And that's not me trying to be ableist. That's me literally going like there are certain things in the world that if people could have had it in like any other way, they would. Like, do you think somebody wants to ask for asthma when they're born? Like was that an intelligent design? Do you think somebody wants to ask to have like fucking dyslexia when they're born? All of these things are natural. All of these things that have formed in the same way that you project onto God for the positive things that like it was like, well made. Nah, man, it's just a random roll of the dice. Like you're lucky you don't have this like specific condition for like whatever reason, but like, it's arbitrary as to who or should have had to be, like who should have been like, subjected to like a sort of like specific thing. And yeah, so when people say those things, you can tell that there's obviously nothing wrong with them, or at least like they're functioning enough to the point where they don't have to struggle like certain people on a daily basis with like specific sort of like issues and stuff like that. Things that like people didn't ask for. And essentially if God is the creator and like designer of like everything, then that is essentially his fault. And like no, we didn't make it this far in terms of like, health, life expectancy, oh because God has like, meticulously and like perfectly crafted the universe to be the way that it is. Nah, man, we got that way through the advancement in like, medicine, health, and like all that kind of stuff. Nothing that had to do with God in the slightest. It had to do with people actually getting their shit together and being like, oh, this medicine helps, blah, blah, or, things like that. That is what strived in making humans, live for like as long as we can. The fucking like medical field and shit like that. You know what religion has done in particular? It has, and I'm well aware that this doesn't apply to like everybody. It has created people that believe in nonsense like faith healing, where people have died for like for no reason if they could have just I don't know gone to like a doctor or something. But no, it's God's will to determine who lives or who dies or like whatever like fucking crazy nonsense that like they want to say. And another thing that I want to bring up is okay, obviously survival of the fittest. Obviously most of us are here that are like well right now are because we're functioning and able to take care of ourselves and like things like that. Think about all the people right now that are literally only alive at the mercy of other people. And I mean, even in a way, even a lot of us are technically are, like still alive, just at like the mercy of like other, like other people too. Because hypothetically, a lot of us aren't doctors. If something were to like happen to us, like we go to like those services. So like in a way, you can argue that literally whoever like controls this like power at play, you know, they determine who gets to like live or die. But to just put it in like a freaking natural, simplistic sort of like sense, a lot of people that couldn't make it just fucking like died and like, got like wiped the fuck out because, they couldn't adapt in the way that, some of us have been able to thus far. If you've gotten this far, for example, yeah, watching my video, like, okay, this is your wake up call. A lot of people weren't as lucky as you, and they literally just are just fucking died. But you're not thinking about those people when you want to congratulate how beautiful God has created, the world and stuff. You're not thinking about those people because you would have to come to the fact of a, cruel and brutal reality. And because you're religious and you live in a fucking fairy tale world, like, okay, you don't want to acknowledge, and I'm going to tell you right now, so, hopefully it like awakens like some of you out there. The only reason you have this deluded perception that everything is so beautifully designed and oh, our eyes, our nose, whatever, our hands are like so like beautifully structured is because you're just one of the random lucky ones that didn't have to suffer through something like, extremely terrible, like a condition or something like that. And yeah, that's going to be most people. Most people you meet are fine relatively, like, like more or less. So it only deceptively creates this illusion that yes, we as human beings, we as a, society, like we're here because of God's glory and like nah man, nature is fucking awful. Nature is fucking terrible. And yeah, it's literally just like, hella fucking random that you don't have to go through something super fucking awful. So the next time you want to think that the world is so beautifully designed, nah, no. Think about those people that literally have it like way worse than you. And I know you'll do your mental gymnastics because people nowadays are so freaking like sensitive and stuff like that. Of course, I'm not saying we should go out of our way to like, belittle people with like conditions or like, things like that. But I mean, like deep down within yourself, you're glad that's not you. You're glad that's not you. So, when you live your life, not necessarily having to like, need accommodations of something like an asthma inhaler or even something worse than that, like a literal caretaker that let's say has to like fucking bathe you and all that sort of shit. Yeah, you think about that the next time you want to like congratulate how beautifully everything like nah man, that's fucking bullshit. And beauty, it's not even real. Disgust in a way, it's not even real. Like it's just our brain forcing us to see things in like a particular way because oh yeah, the do chemicals are like placing that over there. But it still doesn't matter because like what I'm gonna say in like a lot of my videos probably, we all still just die. So like okay yeah, you savor your functioning legs compared to somebody that has to like wheel themselves out with a fucking like wheelchair or some shit. You, I don't know, savor the fingers that you have because maybe I don't know, some people were born without like without one or some shit like that. Like I don't know all the technical terms. I'm not a fucking yeah, all that kind of stuff. But like, okay, back to what I was saying. Okay, yeah, in terms of like, okay, it's funny how people, like we're like, oh, don't make fun of people with disabilities, whatever, this and this and that. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get the whole social justice sort of like nonsense or like something like that. But if we were truly at the heart of like accepting those kind of people as they are with like specific disorders or like some shit, then why would it even entertain in our mind that like oh it would have been better if they weren't like this? You know it would be, but it's just a cope now because obviously if you have like a specific condition or some sort of like disorder or like whatever, you can't run away from it. So just to survive, humans have to delude themselves with like a reframing of, you know, something just to like cope with their existence. That's why religion is there in the first place, honestly. Or like, you know, anything like, oh, like, okay, for example, like, you know, let's say if okay, if I like broke my fucking legs and I had to use a wheelchair, yeah, I know I would have to hypothetically accept that at some point, but like realistically, if some magic could occur where I could start walking again, yes, I would heavily prefer that. So, you know, not even just religion itself, regardless of like our conditions and like stuff like that, humans just have to gaslight to see so much positivity that isn't even necessarily there because we're fucking cowards, and especially a lot of you religious people. But, you know, feel free to disagree because that's just my take, obviously. That's just my take. You're on my channel, so you're gonna get it.